What's up? Welcome to the first ever Commanders Countdown. Uh,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that's gonna take some getting
it's,
used to.
it's it's going to take some getting used to. Yes, I figured go ahead and just change up the name. I mean, it was using Redskins Rundown, even though it was the football team, just because it was
It's
they
catchy.
didn't change the
It
name
was
yet,
catchy.
and it was
Catchy.
catchy. I did like it, but given they did change the name, I guess you need to come up with something new. So I guess for
What were
now,
we what were
Commanders
we gonna
Countdown.
call it? The football team focus?
I know, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
there wasn't really much great with that. What was
Washington.
I think
Washington.
I had an idea. Washington wrap up. I think that
Oh,
was the
boom.
idea I
Yeah,
had with that.
that's what it was. Yeah, the
But I
Washington
stuck
wrap
with
up.
the
Yeah.
Redskins rundown. But since they did change the name now,
Held on to it for a bit longer.
Commanders Countdown will be the working
Yeah.
name and possibly the permanent name. That's the best one that we've gotten so far. So
Yeah, if you guys have better ideas, I mean, we're a very interactive show, so I mean, fucking feel free to write in your ideas and shit. So
yeah,
we're always
definitely.
we're always open. If I mean, as long as it's not terrible. If it's a terrible idea, don't bother to send it in, of course. Like if you're gonna like come up with an idea like the Armada, keep that shit at home. Which
Yeah, like I'm
you
not
know,
a huge fan of Commanders, but there
thank God it
was
wasn't the
several
Armada
other, or like the Brigade or the
or the
Presidents or the
Presidents,
Admirals,
the
or I mean
Admirals.
I
Yeah,
mean Commanders, and it's kind of generic and not great, but it's
I liked
not as bad
Commanders
as
better
some of
than
the
all
others.
those ones. Yeah, like
Yes, absolutely,
I
I
liked
agree with
Red
that.
Hogs. I liked football team, and I liked obviously the Red Wolves as we've discussed.
Well, if Red Wolves was there, yeah, that'd be number one, I would say. But
Yeah,
yes,
but it was
when that
obviously
was out, Red Hogs would have been cool. I would have, I would have been fine with that.
yeah,
If they want to honestly, well, let me read this quote from Daniel Snyder, everyone's favorite motherfucker.
there is.
As an organization, we are excited to rally and rise together as one under a new identity, while paying homage to our local roots and what it means to represent the nation's capital as we kick off our 90th season. It
Hmm.
is important for our organization and fans to pay tribute to our past traditions, history, legacy, and the greats that came before us. We continue to honor and represent the burgundy and gold while forging a pathway to a new era in Washington. Today may mark the first day for the Washington Commanders, but we are and always will be Washington. So a lot of this stuff kind of
All
feels
right.
like mouth service.
Yeah.
It's just like, I
Yeah.
guess so, but
Yeah.
and after having two seasons of time to come up with the logo, and like the
Yeah.
logo, it literally went from one W to another W.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's
I
like a
didn't love
patch
that.
now, that circle patch, which is
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I do like that, but like,
Yeah, that's cool. Like I think that would have been a cooler logo than anything. I mean, because that at least like kind of commemorates the past and everything. But like with the years of the Super Bowls and everything. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, mm, the creativity not the best. Um,
no, not
as
at
as
all.
far as that goes, the name I have more of an issue with the lack of creativity in the logo than I do with the actual name. The name, like I said, like I think we'll get used to the name in time. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
you're
there's
probably
pl-
right.
there's plenty of teams in the NFL that have weird ass names. You
That
know,
is true. That's one thing I was thinking
yeah,
about the day that they changed the name, and I'm like, it's soaked
yeah.
in. And like
I
at
mean,
first, I'm like, oh man, and then
I
I'm like,
mean,
I'm all right. It's not so bad. You think about
yeah,
the teams like the Packers and the Dolphins,
yeah,
and like if you were a fan of a team and they're like, oh, we're changing our name to the Dolphins, you'd be like, are you fucking
yeah,
joking?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And I saw a lot of people say, it's like, what about the Niners? And I was like, hopefully you get that. I was like, it's about the
well, yeah,
California
but
Gold
that's
Rush.
also you could, but same with like the Packers. The
Yeah,
Packers, obviously, there's a lot of history to the name,
yeah,
but
yeah,
if you just heard that name,
yeah. If you just tried to roll
obviously they
that name
probably
out,
wouldn't name a team that without the
yeah,
history. But so maybe that's not a good example, but there are others
you're right.
though, plenty of, and a lot of them are just basic animal names. You got the Bears, you got the Eagles, you got the
Yep.
Lions. I mean, none of those are particularly inventive or creative. So
Right.
it's just because Commanders is it's a new name and
Hmm.
it's not particularly flashy and it's not exactly what people wanted. I mean, most people that had an opinion, well, the large majority wanted Red Wolves. Not
Yeah.
everybody did. Some people didn't like that either. But I know if they had made it that, there would have been a lot more of an enthusiastic response to it. Like at this point, it's going to take some time, and they might
Yeah.
need to. We'll put up some pictures of the new jerseys.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
I was gonna
actually
say.
there's three of well, yeah. Well, they have a black alternate. That'd be probably the biggest new addition to the jersey lineup, which I do actually like the black one. It has a DC flag on
Hmm.
the side.
I
It
like
is
that.
nice. I've always liked black uniforms, so to have a black alternate like that, it's pretty cool. The burgundy one I also like a lot. That one's pretty sweet. The only one I'm not a big fan of is the white one. That one I feel like needs some work.
Yeah, I
Or they
think
need
that,
to
I
redo the
think it's too.
sleeves at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, and like the color
And the
on the
red and the
numbers.
number,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
I think it needs to be
it just
more
doesn't
burgundy.
work.
It's just too light. The red's
Yeah.
too light. It needs to be, like more like, point to the back and yeah, like obviously everybody that can see the background in
Oh,
here is like
yeah.
that burgundy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it needs to be. It needs to be darker. I guess Jason Wright tried to say something like in the same tone. Bro, with respect, you're high.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it's the same. There's no
I
way it's
also
the
just
same
the
color.
sleeve designs with the I
Yeah.
really just don't like it. The helmet is cool, but I don't
Yeah.
like the way that looks. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
obviously this can be a work in progress. Things can
Yeah.
change. They'll have other uniforms. Nothing, but that doesn't
Fight
mean it's
song's
gonna
gonna
stay that.
change.
Well, yeah, I don't even know what that's gonna. Yeah, that's
Well, I mean, Jason Wright
terrible.
was saying he's like, we like a lot of it because it's like like on the warpath. He's like, and obviously like the fight for old DC can stay. So he's like, obviously,
Yeah.
like,
I have seen some posts like online of people posting ideas that didn't
yeah,
sound absolutely terrible, but
yeah, people with their fan ideas, and it does seem
mhm.
like they're going to engage the fan participation for. So they didn't really like. I mean, they did to some degree on the name. Obviously, you weren't going to make
Yeah,
everybody happy.
it seems like they did, but I don't know. If you ask me, I would say they didn't. But
Yeah, they didn't ask you specifically. Did you
I
send in
mean,
your idea?
when did you watch that shit on Facebook when they revealed the name? All the comments on Facebook. I mean, like 98% of them were just shitting on it and did not like it. So
Yeah, well,
you get like one every 20 that was like,
yeah.
and they weren't even enthusiastic about it. They were just like, no, it's okay. We'll go accept it. Which is now where I am. Like a week later, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll get used to it. But
Yeah.
no one was happy, so it's just hard to be like, oh, they really listen to the fans. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And then I guess the issue with the Red Wolves thing is the trademark stuff. But I
Right.
mean, I don't know how much of that is just saying that, or if maybe it would have cost too much money. But I don't know. I think it would have been worth the investment to maybe if it was a matter of money. But
It
you
seemed
never
to be
know.
the more popular name from at least like the fan groups that we could see, which obviously isn't the tell all because there's only so
Right,
many
right.
people in there. But yeah, exactly. So and then after spending the last 2 seasons as the Washington football team, obviously the expectations were pretty high because people either obviously grew to like that name or they just fucking hated it the whole time and they're like, let's get us something new. But either way, everybody was excited for the.
I actually grew to like it. I mean, I got this jacket.
Yeah,
It's
that's
kind of funny. I only got this a few months ago, and now they changed the damn
good
name.
looking
But at least I
jacket.
have something
You can still wear it.
from when this was I feel like it's a part of the history of the team.
That's
So
the
it's fun
that's
to
the
have it.
burgundy that they need to
Yeah, and I do like this jacket. This is a nice jacket. I mean,
Yeah.
it is very nice. The colors are, I do like it a lot. And then this grew on me, but I did expect something at least a little bit better than like in terms of the logo. The uniforms aren't bad, other than that white one, which I'm really just hoping
they need to
they'll
make
tweak
it
that one a bit.
that burgundy on your jacket there. They need to
Yeah.
make it darker like that, and then it'll be okay.
And do something with the
With
sleeves.
the sleeves,
I mean,
yeah.
it is just they don't look. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I said, these things can be changed. I know Jason Wright said that they have a lot of stuff planned for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Unveiling new things, and obviously things like uniforms can change. People. So we'll see what happens. Like I've even everyone has their fan ideas, and like there was one I saw with a different alternate away uniform with the actual burgundy and gold, like it should look really. And I was like, well, that's what they should do.
Yeah, I saw that too. Maybe they'll integrate that because I did think that looked a lot more sharp. But and then one day after Washington unveiled its new team name, logo, and uniforms at FedEx Field, 6 former team employees testified before Congress at a roundtable concerning the investigation into Washington's toxic workplace culture under Snyder. New allegations emerged against Snyder at Wednesday's roundtable, in which Snyder responded acknowledging past issues with the franchise, but he strongly denied the new claims. More news was released Friday as Congress has set a deadline of, ironically enough, Valentine's Day to deal with potential sexual harassment suit investigation. But they've set a deadline of the 14th for the NFL to release everything on their year-long investigation of the Washington Commander football team.
Oh man, I don't even blame you.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
Anyway, but we already know we all hate Dan Snyder, and here you go. I mean,
it might be a chance to get him out.
Maybe, I hope so. 'Cause,
Smoke the monster out.
Everything, it just gets harder and harder, it seems like.
Yeah.
It really does. But yeah, I mean, I guess on some halfway more positive-ish news, even though the next year's draft, or this upcoming draft class, isn't impressive at all.
Yeah.
This week at the Senior Bowl,
Yep.
Washington top executives Martin Mayhew and Marty Herney are in town. Offensive coordinator Scott Turner and quarterbacks coach Ken Zampese are also there as well.
Spending the
in Mobile, Alabama.
Yeehaw! Yes, sir. Down in the good old Mobile, Alabama, at the Senior Bowl.
The Commanders have
Yes,
extensively scouted the draft the draft eligible quarterbacks throughout the college football season, of course, as most every 32 of the 32 teams do, because of course.
Yeah.
But there is nothing like seeing them at the Senior Bowl, where for some players it's the first time they will take a snap from under center. So a good look at what might be coming in the draft. Although if you ask me, I don't think anything in the draft is going to make or break. Well, not going to make or help our team get any better. I think if we're going to have any chance, we're going to have to land somebody that's already an existing player.
Yeah.
Most likely.
And I think that's what Ron said at his end of the season presser. He's Washington's made it clear that they're looking for a veteran quarterback, and they plan on trying to swing big in free agency. But obviously, if that attempt falls short, they've got to you've got to check all your boxes and make sure that you go through everything. So,
yeah, and they have met with two of the quarterbacks that will be in the draft.
Two of at least the six, so far that's been reported.
There's Carson Strong of Nevada and Malik Willis of Liberty, and I know Malik Willis. He's more of one of the running types.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, right?
He's very mobile, and he actually was the one. Malik Willis was the one that helped his draft stock the most in a downpour of rain. He actually was slinging the ball around and scrambling around really good out there in one of the practices on Thursday. So he looked really great, considering like Washington, as we've seen in recent years, is a place that can have at times sloshy field conditions. So I mean he looked pretty good out there. I mean he definitely.
Yeah, and then on the other side, you got Carson Strong, who is a bit of an opposite, but he has the ideal size of 6'3", 226. He's got a strong arm, good accuracy, but apparently he has an old knee injury that may or may not be problematic. Sometimes when these players get injured younger in college, doesn't seem to be as bad, or maybe when they're younger, it seems like injuries don't necessarily hamper their career as bad. If a 30-year-old tears their ACL versus a 22-year-old, like let's say like Chase Young, he tore his ACL, but he's 22. He's hopefully he can come back and be healthy. The older you are, I feel like it gets harder and harder. So hopefully that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, and I've always looked at it too as in that situation, like for example, one major situation was I thought going to be Tua after he basically had his hip torn all up in that national championship game, and he's come back and missed no games in the NFL, barely. I think he's missed a couple games, but I mean he's mostly been reliable. So I mean more than likely. You would hope that wouldn't be an issue. As you mentioned, he is a bigger guy. So obviously, all the people that say Heineke is too small. He's 6'3", 226, has a strong arm, really good accuracy. Malik Willis is the opposite, and he is a little bit more of a scrambler. He has a rocket arm as well, and he's got demonstrated some good escapability and ability to move around in the pocket. So interesting to see if they get any of those guys. I think they're what 11th in the draft.
Yes, 11th. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if there's still either of them are available. If either of them are available, I would think that they. I mean, if you've got the spot and it's there, you probably take it and see what happens. Doesn't mean they maybe won't try and find somebody else, because I know Heineke is he's going to be the backup, but they probably want somebody to be a starter that if they do draft somebody that they can learn. I mean, maybe they have three. They have, whoever they draft as third and Heineke, and then, whoever else they could possibly find.
Or they might have Heineke do the bridge thing for a year where
possible, and that's also possible too. Which I wouldn't be mad if that happened. If and then maybe play the rookie sometimes, and then maybe see how that goes. Maybe. That's a big gamble, because I feel like Washington has terrible luck when it comes to drafting any rookie quarterback. But, maybe we'll get lucky. But this class isn't as good as it's been in the past. So but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, anybody can really could go in and take off. You never know.
Right.
So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the draft. See if they trade up. If maybe they want to target somebody and they do trade up. But speaking of Aaron Rodgers,
Yes.
we got some news with him. We don't know what his plans are going to be.
We don't.
After his season ended after a fantastic divisional round loss to the Niners. I mean, actually, it really wasn't a fantastic loss. I mean, the game kind of sucked, but
yeah,
you know what I mean. It was great that they won the game, but I guess after the game, he didn't hop on a jet and fly to Los Angeles frustrated and with his future hanging in the balance. The Packers quarterback stuck around in Green Bay. Sources say that he stayed in the building for a few extra days to plot out the team's future, huddling with Coach Matt LaFleur and others, mapping out what's next.
Yeah.
It left those in the organization with confidence moving forward that Rodgers will return for the 2022 season.
Yeah.
I know a lot of teams out there are hoping that that wouldn't be the case,
right.
and maybe he would move on somewhere.
I've seen
that's kind of what I was
fans
expecting.
Hoping. It's like even with like the
right
future being Trey, even though we've invested like so much in Trey, they're like, if we could get Aaron, which I mean I get it. It's like when Tom Brady was available, it's like if you can make a play, because how often has he ever been? He's never been a free agent before, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it seems like he will possibly return, but it's really up in the air at this point. I mean, they're hoping that that's the case, but he did say publicly that all options are on the table moving forward. If from returning to retiring to working with the team on a trade, or returning.
Yeah.
But he did say specifically he doesn't want to join any team in a rebuilding situation.
Right.
Obviously, a guy like Aaron Rodgers. He wants to go to a contender. So you already know if you're a team that really, if you're not a good team, he does. I mean, it would be nice to see him go somewhere like Washington, that needs a quarterback. But that's the problem with trying to land these high name, good quarterbacks. They oftentimes don't want to go to a team like that. And
the problem is I think Washington is a quarterback away from I think they are a contender.
I think so as well. But I think given the name situation and just the whole, Washington, it's my team and all, but Jesus. A lot of toxic bullshit, and the owner sucks. Like, it's just a lot of bullshit there, and I'm not surprised that players don't want to go to a team like that. So when I see something like that from somebody, like, well, I don't know if I'd say they're rebuilding, but it's just I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean the Packers have a lot of questions. Obviously, they've got some salary cap issues themselves, and Davante Adams, top receiver, needs a new contract or a franchise tag. So. And Davante Adams has already said that he doesn't want to play in Green Bay if Aaron Rodgers doesn't stay as well.
Right.
So the team is trying to reload as much as possible, try to keep their Super Bowl window alive because, they are still a good team, one game away from the Super Bowl. And really, if that game could have gone either way with us, it was really a shit show in the
It came down to that blocked punt, honestly. If it weren't for that blocked punt and return touchdown, they probably wouldn't have won that game.
The golden leg of Robbie. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
yep.
I mean, who's, God bless him, 21 for 21, career postseason. But yeah, so obviously they want him back. And then, recently on his weekly Pat McAfee appearance, he said there's a variety of realities that he'll consider. He said, I think some of the factors are the direction of the team and the organization and how I feel I fit in the future. Mentally, do I still have the passion, the competitiveness, the desire to keep playing? I think it's a feeling, and you just kind of know when the off season has started. When you're a hyper competitive individual, you also dream or think about what the fairy tale ending is. It doesn't necessarily mean Super Bowl necessarily, but that's a pretty damn good fairy tale ending. So I mean, maybe he's still going to come back, and he's not going to retire. I mean, I'm just going to go.
I don't think he's
going to
retire. I wouldn't bet that either. Not yet. He's only like 37 or 38.
He's 38.
38. Okay, so I would expect at least another.
And
two
honestly, he's the last dude. He's the last one, man.
Yeah. Dude,
Tom's
out
now. Of our generation of quarterbacks, dude, we've lost Ben, we've lost Tom, we've lost.
Which I'm not. I don't really care about the Ben one. I'm kind of glad to see.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. It's the end. We've lost. Eli Manning. We've lost Phillip Rivers. We've lost Tom. I said Tom Brady already.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. Who are the other one? Drew Brees. I don't know how I just meant that.
I don't know.
So like our whole generation of the guys that we grew up like, Aaron Rodgers is the last one, man. I mean, he's the last gunslinger.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're right. Damn.
So
I mean, you got Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's still out there.
Yeah.
I was like, there's at least like another one or
Yeah,
two that are
yeah.
like you could maybe put in that. And Jimmy,
Yeah.
Jimmy is like 30, but no, I know what you're
Yeah,
saying. I know
yeah.
what you're saying.
Jimmy's a young man, and relatively, I mean, for 3 years he was a backup, 3, 4 years.
That's why he's less known. If he had played since he was like 21, then he'd
Right.
probably be as well
Yeah,
known as these guys
yeah,
too. But
yeah. He was practicing the sneak, and that is an excellent
dog trying
segue.
to get under my jacket back here. There you go. Let me
Okay.
help you out there, puppy.
Yeah, there you go. No worries. And yeah, that Jimmy talk is actually an excellent segue into our next topic, which is possible destinations. Obviously, as we've mentioned, at the Niners' end of the season press conferences where they were, kind of recapping the season, Jimmy spoke with the media and was certainly, you know, very open and honest in the fact that, it would be more than likely that he would be moving on. Obviously, he was more so that way than the Niners because when they talked to John and Kyle, they were more like, anything's a possibility. But it sounds more than likely like both parties are moving on. And even if Jimmy stays, I would more anticipate that to be because honestly, like I wouldn't mind Jimmy staying, but I think that for him
Yeah.
to stay, he would have to restructure his contract and to stay
Mhm.
as a backup. And if he's got offers to start somewhere, I don't see. I mean, he does love the
He's
team.
gonna take it.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that he'd want to play though
That's
over.
probably why they'd say like all possible options. Like, I mean, even
Yeah,
if it's like backup ish, I mean, if it was Trey and him again, I'm sure they'd let Trey start most of the time to give him the experience. But like, maybe they got to put Jimmy in. That'd be
yeah. I
good.
mean,
But
well, like, but yeah. I mean, and I think Trey's gonna be really good. I mean, like I've liked Trey since the draft process. But yeah, I mean, as we've learned, watching Niners games in the last few seasons, what happens if Trey gets injured? Then what? Then we go into
right,
Nate Sudfeld. Is that our plan?
go do some
I
more
mean,
Nick Mullins.
what happened in the one game I saw Nate Sudfeld play? I mean, he fucking basically threw the Redskins the division, or threw Washington the division, playing for the Eagles. Remember that shit? Like they
Yeah,
took Jalen Hurts out when they had a chance to win, and I was like, why is Nate Sudfeld coming in the game?
yeah, that was weird.
That made no sense. Doug Peterson, it was his last game everything's coming around. His last game in an Eagles uniform. But yeah, as far as I don't know why I said uniform. He doesn't wear a uniform. He wears the Eagles insignia though. Anyway,
Same difference.
moving on. Um, so as far as possible destinations that have been discussed for Jimmy, and a lot of this depends on what these teams do, but I think the most likely three are going to be obviously the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, their quarterback situation right now is a bit of an unknown. They had Jameis Winston, but I think he's set to be a free agent. Taysom Hill, we know isn't going to
He's
be their
not. He's
starter.
not a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I really like Taysom Hill as a
So
player. He's really fun to watch. But
so yeah, exactly. And if New
not as a
Orleans got
starter.
and if New Orleans got Jimmy as a starter, they could
With
have
Taysom as the
Hill.
backup,
Yeah,
that would be phenomenal for
yeah,
them. I hope that's not the case, but
yeah.
I'm not a big Saints fan. I think
Exactly.
personally, though, if I was betting, I would think Tampa would go for him. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe that's just because Tom was there. Maybe that's why I think that. But it just seems like Tampa seems like a stronger team. They're an established team where,
They
like,
are. Yeah.
it seems like that would maybe be the most likely one. And then I guess also there is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that isn't the case, but they also, I mean, they got Dwayne Haskins. I mean, shit, they need somebody.
Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph are
And Mason Rudolph, right?
the top two quarterbacks. And obviously, as we've discussed in great detail, the quarterback draft class isn't as deep as it's been in years past. I think everybody said that any of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round last year would be drafted over any of the guys that are in this draft. So
Yeah.
it makes it more likely that Jimmy is going to end up in one of these places. Pittsburgh.
I'd also say
obviously.
there is a small chance he ends up in Washington. I'm not saying there hasn't been any talk of that, but like
we were going to mention
Washington
that.
does need a quarterback.
And another one too worth mentioning. Yeah, Washington is a place, and then also Miami, and Miami,
Right.
especially if they end up hiring Mike McDaniel, his former offensive coordinator with the Niners, as the head coach there. Also, a few of these things There could be Las Vegas with the Raiders, with Josh McDaniels getting that job, being his former offensive coordinator. If the Raiders
That's
move
if they
on,
move on
if
from
they move
Derek
on from
Carr.
Derek Carr,
Yeah,
exactly. So a lot of
which
these
I
things,
think would be really stupid. If you're going to move on from Derek Carr and get Jimmy, you're an idiot. Like, no offense to Jimmy, I love Jimmy, and Jimmy is a decent quarterback. But I put Derek Carr and Jimmy on almost the same level. Like they're very close.
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly, like, I've been saying for years that I think Derek Carr is probably a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, Derek Carr is probably a little better than Jimmy, maybe like slightly better than Jimmy.
I think so. I think Jimmy's probably top 15. I
Right.
think Jimmy does a lot of things better than. I mean, Jimmy's underrated in the play action game, and I mean, as you know, we'll I know we can't put up anything from the game, but maybe we can put up some clips from his like postseason press conference. I mean, like he's on the Alex Smith level of like teammate caliber. I mean, like as far as like a guy that like never, like threw any of his teammates under the bus. I mean, he was just like a consummate professional, dealt with, adversity every single day. People saying that, he was like garbage and should be benched. Obviously the ongoing Trey situation, injuries, played hurt, through a sprained thumb and a sprained shoulder. And got us to the NFC Championship. So I think Jimmy deserves a lot of respect and credibility, for what he did. And I think he's definitely underrated. Yeah, I mean he did have a lot of good things, and all those teams that we mentioned also have good defenses. The Saints, Buccaneers, Pittsburgh, the Raiders have a pretty good defense.
Washington supposed to.
Washington has a good defense. Yeah, so all those teams would help, and teams that have a good running game. Would obviously be beneficial. You imagine, I mean, it would be tough to watch, but imagine him going to New Orleans where he has like Michael Thomas to throw to and Alvin Kamara to hand the ball off to. I mean, that doesn't seem like too bad of a situation. Especially now with Tom retiring, if he goes to any of those NFC South teams, they're all up for grabs. There's no Tom, there's no Sean Payton anymore. The whole NFC South's up for grabs now. But we'll have to follow that situation. Obviously, we do know that Jimmy will be moving on. Thanks for 5 years, 10, and all you did for us. We appreciate you. Definitely.
If we can't get anybody else better, I mean, if Jimmy went to Washington, at least that'd be cool because I like Jimmy. It'd be cool to see him.
I think he'd surprise a lot of people. I mean, like I think that you probably watch more Niners games than you definitely do than probably most Washington fans. Yeah, so I think you would probably have a better idea. And I think that if you went to Washington, I think people would be really pissed at first.
Oh yeah, people would be so pissed. I can tell you firsthand from the people I know. No one wants.
But I mean, they didn't want Alex Smith either, and I mean.
Yeah, and then Alex Smith's gone. You're like, oh, come on, where's Alex Smith at?
Where's Alex? Yeah, can we get Alex? But yeah. Don't know what you got till it's gone. I mean, that's how. I hope that's not how we feel with Jimmy. I mean, I really have a lot of faith in Trey, but I just hope.
Right.
You do, all of you guys, the media. Since I got here, you guys have been awesome. It's been some ups and downs between all of us, but for the most part, you guys have been awesome. Just good group to deal with. You guys are very engaging, and it's just fun to be around you guys. You're from Eric making the jokes to everything in between. Just it's been a fun ride, guys, and I really appreciate you for that. And I'll miss you guys. So thank you guys again. Faithful, thank you very much for everything. It's been crazy, man. Just all the comebacks at Levi's, comebacks on the road, ups and downs. It's been a hell of a ride, guys. I love you guys. So
biggest news though is definitely the name change, which is unfortunate. I think most of us think, but but it'll take getting used to. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see what they do over the next 2 years in terms of like Jason Wright said, there's going to be things happening. So interesting to see what those are going to be. And you know what? If next season we come out and make the playoffs and maybe win a few games in there, that'd be great. Go Commanders then.
Yeah. I think everybody would, be more eased into it, obviously. If you guys come out and have a great season, it'd be a lot easier to get behind it.
And if we stay healthy, I honestly think that that's entirely possible. It really is. If we have a good quarterback under center, we have like a Russell Wilson type, then
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that you guys are, just a quarterback away from, like, if the roster stays pretty much intact, obviously you guys aren't going to be able to keep everybody, but, with the foundation you have with Gibson, obviously got to bring back McKissick, with
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin, obviously, the offensive line wasn't half bad. We'll have to see if Sheriff comes back or not. But yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. I think they're really, honestly, truly just a good quarterback away. And I mean, that's not to say that Taylor wasn't good or anything, because he definitely had moments, but he also
Mhm.
wasn't healthy the entire season. I mean, he dealt with COVID, and I mean,
Yeah.
even then they were still a 7-10 team. So they finished what, like
Although the
10?
whole team looked rough in the first few games. So
Yeah.
when they found some rhythm, they actually started to look a lot better.
Yeah.
But then it all fell apart due to the COVID and the injuries. So,
Yeah.
but it'll be really interesting to see how things go if everything can stay, going well next season. But that is a long time away. And short of this new name news, there's really not probably going to be a whole lot more Commanders news, I guess, coming up. I'm sure there'll be some stuff, minor stuff to cover since the name's new. I'm sure they're going to have some stuff happening
Yeah.
to talk about. But with the name thing, that's
We'll
the
we'll
biggest.
let you know.
Yeah, we'll let you know anything else that comes up. The name is that's the big news. And like I said, probably going to take some getting used to for most of us. I don't think anyone's really happy about it, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. And I do think with time it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
All right.
All right. Well,
Solid.
thanks for joining us, everybody.
If you like what you saw and you enjoyed our content, make sure that you hit the subscribe button on the it's right here, for more content, and then you can get notified every time we post shit, and update you on the latest and greatest NFL news. Next week we recap the Super Bowl, so hopefully go Bengals, and
Yeah, definitely go Bengals.
Who Day Nation, I'm hoping that they get that win.
Need Joey Burrow to pull through and
Joey B. Like I said, I got my Bengal orange on, so I'm hoping, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, like and subscribe, Roscoe.
you just got this done.
for more Roscoe content as well. But yeah, thanks for joining us on the Extra Point Show, and yeah, 20 episodes, everybody. So you guys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
you guys have been
20.
fucking solid, so we appreciate you guys. So, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Have a good night.